A red flag warning is in place for much of the state today, and this means that there's an increased risk for fire danger. Last week, we saw several wildfires, and one has been burning throughout the weekend. Joining us now with an update on conditions is Mark Goler, Director of Oklahoma Forestry Services. Mark, good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Before we get updates on all the fires that we've seen lately, I want to just have you walk us through what a red flag warning means and what conditions are present in order for one to be issued.
Okay, red flag warning means that the situation, the weather conditions and the fuel conditions are just right for fire danger, or for high fire danger that would cause resistance to control of wildfires and rapid rates of spread. And it's just it's a warning to let people know how bad the conditions are and what could happen should a fire start.
And is this the highest level of a warning that can be issued?
Yes. Well, actually, there's more than that. We have fire warnings, also kind of like a tornado warning, but that's more specific to a particular area in case we need to have evacuations.
Okay. Yeah. So let's get some updates here. The Rush Fire in particular, we've been covering that one throughout the weekend, still burning right now over in the Wichita Mountains. Give us an update on the status of that, how many acres have burned, how much it's contained, all of that information.
Don't have a current containment figure, but the fire's burned around 12,000 acres to date. A National Incident Management team was briefed yesterday evening at 1600, and they assumed command of the fire this morning at 08. There'll be additional resources that will go to that and try to continue to hold that fire within its current footprint. The one concern that we have today, obviously, is the weather and the south winds that will impact the northwest corner, which is very rugged terrain and high amount of fuels. And so we're really watching that closely.
Now, last week we heard from officials that this fire was a little difficult to fight just because of its location. Give us an insight into the efforts that crews are making out there in order to contain this fire and to help stop it from continuing to spread.
Okay, yes, the Wichita Mountains and Quartz Mountains, that area, southwest Oklahoma, anytime that we get a fire in that terrain, it is difficult to control. And the reason being, the fire environment is three things: fuels, weather, topography. The topography of that area, very rocky, very big rocks. And so we have to back off to more favorable terrain to build a control line. And so that's one reason why the fire itself has gotten big at that 12,000 acre figure, because they're having to fall back to roads in many cases or build mechanical line, dozers, road graders, things like that, out on the flats away from the mountains themselves, in order to have favorable terrain to be able to burn and to hold the fire. So that's why the fire's gotten as big as it is, in addition to the fuel conditions that we face right now in the state. And they're particularly dry because of lack of rainfall. And today, for sure, with the wind speeds that we've got in the lower relative humidities, it's going to make it for a very difficult day for the Fire Service of Oklahoma.
Yeah, and last week we reported on several other wildfires. Give us an update on what you've seen throughout the state over the last few days or the last few weeks.
We've, over time, obviously we've had an uptick in fire occurrence over the last several weeks because of how dry it is and what our fuel conditions are. And so for the whole year, the fire departments in the state that have reported, plus Oklahoma Forestry Services, we've had 1,933 fires that have burned roughly 600,000 acres. And so as we've come into fall, we're starting to see that fire occurrence start to climb because of how dry it is. Plus the change in the seasons, the dry cold fronts that are coming through, the wind speeds, the change in winds, they're starting to also impact how many fires we've got. One of the big problems is, as we had yesterday, pretty nice day. If there was not a burn ban, there would have been a lot of people out burning brush piles and other things. It's not necessarily the day when it's really nice and the wind speeds are low that we have the issues. It's the day following that, especially when anybody that's burned outdoors, they're not there with the fire anymore. And so the ashes blow out into the surrounding vegetation. That's where the fires take off and go. So last Thursday was one of those days. The day previous was a really nice day. People were out burning brush piles, burning just various things. Thursday, the winds came up and we had a lot of fires escape because of that. So Thursday, we saw 27 large fires across the state, and it was not a problem that just impacted one area. It was statewide. And so that just tells you how dry the entire state is. We've got one county in southern Oklahoma, the Keach-Byram Drought Index, which is the measure of moisture in the top 8 inches of soil. It's at 800. That's the highest that you can get. There's no moisture in the top 8 inches. We got several other counties in that same boat that are really close to that 800 level. And so the fuel conditions are what we're really concerned with right now. And then the interaction of the weather coming over those fuels will be critical to us as we move forward in how we address the situation going into the fall and winter.
Okay, and before we go, Mark, with a day like today and even continuing into tomorrow into these dry conditions, what is your best advice for everyone at home to help prevent this from happening?
One is be very mindful of what they do outdoors. Don't do any burning, especially in those counties where they have the county burn bans, and anywhere that it's critically dry. Please don't go out and do any outdoor burning right now. Be very careful with anything that they do, like charcoaling or things like that. Welding outdoors is also another major category of fires that we see. Just driving down the road, pulling a trailer with safety chains. As they impact the pavement, they create sparks. So we see a lot of roadside fires caused by chains dragging on the roads or flat tires and the rims causing sparks. So we get a lot of fires from that. So just be extremely careful. Anything you do outdoors that could cause a spark and start a wildfire.
Okay, Mark, thank you so much for coming in and giving us updates on what we're seeing across the state. Thank you to you and to all of your crews who are out there working right now. Everyone stay safe, and we really appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Okay.